A 10-year-old boy walks into a biker diner holding a crayon map and asks for just one ride. Everyone tells him the same thing: his mother is gone. The police closed her case weeks ago. But something about the way he speaks makes one man hesitate. What follows is a quiet decision that pulls strangers onto a road where the truth was never meant to be found. Rita's diner was the kind of place where the waitress knew your order before you sat down and the jukebox only played songs from before anyone could remember. It was barely past dawn on a Saturday, and the Iron Circle Motorcycle Club had already claimed the back corner, boots propped on chairs, leather vests creaking with every movement. Ben sat alone at the far end of the long table, nursing black coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. He never said much. The others had learned to read his silences the way sailors read storm clouds. "I'm telling you, the timing chain is shot," Owen gestured with toast. "Heard it clicking from Mercer County." Alyssa cut him off. "You hear everything. And I'm always right." The bell over the door chimed. Nobody looked up. Rita's was always busy on Saturday mornings. Then the conversations died. A boy stood just inside the doorway. Small for his age, maybe 10, with a face that looked like it hadn't seen soap in days. His jeans were too short, sneakers splitting at the toes. He held a folded piece of paper against his chest like a shield. He didn't look lost. He looked determined. The boy walked past the truckers at the counter, past the couple in the booth by the window, straight to the bikers in the back. He stopped in front of Ben. "I need one ride," the boy said. His voice was steady, but his hands shook. Ben looked up slowly. The others watched, expecting him to send the kid away. Instead, Ben set his coffee down. "Where to?" The boy unfolded the paper. It was a map drawn in crayon. Blue and green lines wobbled across the page. Clumsy triangular trees, a snake-curved river and branching roads. And in the corner, a blue square labeled in careful letters, "Blue House." Next to it, a red X. "My mom is alive," the boy said. His voice cracked on the last word. "She's there, on that house. But nobody believes me." Owen leaned forward. "Kid, if your mom's missing, you need to talk to the police." "I did." The boy's jaw tightened. "They said she left. They said she's not coming back." "And you think different?" Alyssa asked, not unkindly. The boy looked at her. "I know different." Ben hadn't taken his eyes off the kid. Something in the boy's face made his chest tighten. That look. He'd seen it in the mirror once, a long time ago. "What's your name?" Ben asked. "Matt." "I'm Ben." He gestured to the others. "That's Owen, Alyssa, Stick, Wilson. You run away from somewhere, Matt?" Matt hesitated. "Group home. Foster thing. Temporary. They know you're here?" "No." Alyssa sighed. "Ben, we can't just..." Ben held up a hand. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, and spoke quietly so only Matt could hear. "Tell me what happened. The truth. Don't leave anything out." Matt swallowed hard. "We lived in an apartment. Just me and her. She worked 2 jobs. Cleaning houses, waitressing when she could. One night, she woke me up. It was really late. She whispered that I had to stay quiet. I heard voices outside. A man. Angry. Then a car door slammed. And then nothing. I fell asleep. When I woke up, she was gone." "What did the police say?" "That she probably needed space. That single moms do that sometimes. They looked around for a week, maybe 2. Then they stopped." Matt's hands balled into fists. "But I heard her that night. She was scared." Ben sat back. He could feel the others staring at him, waiting for him to do the reasonable thing. Call social services. Let the system handle it. But the system had already failed this kid once. "You remember anything else?" Ben asked. The man's voice. What he said. Matt shook his head. "Just that it was deep. And he said her name. Vanessa." Alyssa's expression softened. She slid out of the booth and crouched next to Matt. "When did you draw this map?" "Last night. I remembered the place. She used to take me there sometimes, months ago. She'd park the car and tell me to sleep in the back seat while she talked to someone. I'd wake up and we'd leave. I asked her once who lived there. She said it was just a friend." You think she's there now? I think something happened there. Something bad. Ben stood. The other bikers tensed. They knew that look. Finish your pancakes, Ben said. Matt blinked. I don't have any pancakes. Ben waved at Rita behind the counter. She does now. He turned to the others. We ride in 15. Owen opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Alyssa. She shrugged. You heard the man. Wilson, the youngest of the group, leaned over. Ben, man, we don't even know where this place is. Ben tapped the crayon map. He does. Rita brought over a plate stacked with pancakes, bacon, and eggs. Matt stared at it like he hadn't seen food in days. While Matt ate, Ben walked outside and stood by his bike. The sun was just starting to burn through the fog. He pulled out his phone and stared at it. He could call the police, hand the kid over, walk away. But 15 years ago, his sister disappeared. Everyone said she was a runaway, a troubled teen. Ben had screamed that something was wrong, that she wouldn't just leave. Nobody listened. They found her body 6 months later. He put the phone away. Inside, Matt finished his food. Alyssa helped him wipe syrup off his hands. Stick handed him a jacket because the morning was cold and the kid didn't have one. Ben walked back in. You ready? Matt nodded. Then let's go find your mom. Ben told the others to wait at the diner. Matt climbed off the bike, confused, as Ben kicked the stand down outside the sheriff's office. I thought we were going to find her, Matt said. We are, but we do this smart. Ben pulled off his helmet. You stay here. I'll be quick. The sheriff's office smelled like stale coffee and copy machine ink. Ben walked past the front desk without stopping, ignoring the receptionist's protest. He knew where he was going. Detective Aaron Mills sat at a desk buried under manila folders and coffee-stained reports. He looked up when Ben's shadow fell across his paperwork. Recognition flickered in his tired eyes. If you're here to file a complaint, use the front desk, Mills said. I'm here about Vanessa Hale. Mills went still. His pen stopped moving. He glanced toward the captain's office at the far end of the room, then back at Ben. That case is closed. Yeah. Ben pulled up a chair without being invited. And you don't sleep well because of it. Mills set the pen down carefully. Who are you exactly? Someone who knows what it looks like when a cop gets told to stop asking questions. They stared at each other. Mills had bags under his eyes that suggested too many late nights and not enough answers. He looked like a man who'd stopped trusting his own department. Finally, Mills opened his bottom desk drawer and pulled out a thin file. The label read Hale, Vanessa, in faded handwriting. Single mother. 2 jobs. No criminal record. Stable mental health. No debts. Mills flipped through pages as he spoke. Disappeared 6 weeks ago. Neighbor reported her missing when the kid didn't show up at school. We searched the apartment. Nothing suggested struggle or forced entry. Her car was still parked outside. What about her phone? Gone. We pinged it. Last location was near her apartment. Then it went dark. And you closed the case. Mills leaned back in his chair. I didn't. My captain did. Said we didn't have resources to chase down every adult who decides to leave town. Told me to focus on cases with actual evidence of foul play. But you kept the file. I keep a lot of files. Mills rubbed his face. There was something off about this one. The kid kept insisting his mother wouldn't leave him. Social worker said he was in denial. Captain agreed. Case got shelved. Ben slid Matt's crayon map across the desk. Mills stared at the blue house, crooked roads, and red X. Where did you get this? Her son drew it. Last night. From memory. Mills picked up the map like it might fall apart in his hands. He drew this. Said his mother used to take him to that blue house. She'd park the car and tell him to sleep while she went inside. He thinks something happened there. Mills' jaw worked like he was chewing on words he didn't want to say. He reached into the file and pulled out a single piece of paper. Printed email. We got a tip. Anonymous. Came through the online portal about a week after she disappeared. Said there was an old rental property outside county lines, near Route 9 with blue siding. Said we should check it out. Mills tapped the paper. I requested a search warrant. Captain denied it. Said anonymous tips weren't enough for probable cause, and we'd already wasted enough time on this case. Ben looked at the map, then at the email. Route 9. That matches. Yeah. Mills set the email down. It does. So what stopped you from going anyway? Jurisdiction. Property lines. The fact that I'd get suspended if I searched a place without a warrant based on a hunch. Mills met Ben's eyes. But you're not a cop. No, I'm not. And if you happened to be in the area and saw something suspicious, you'd have every right to call it in. Ben stood. Appreciate the conversation, detective. Mills grabbed his wrist. His grip was firm. Listen to me. If this goes where I think it might, you're gonna step on toes. The kind attached to lawyers and political connections. Good. I'm serious. Vanessa Hale worked cleaning houses for some wealthy families. If one of them is involved, they'll bury this again. And you. Ben pulled his arm free. Then I guess you better be ready to dig us back up. Mills watched him head for the door. Then he called out. Ben. Ben stopped. The kid. Matt. Is he with you? Yeah. Mills nodded slowly. Keep him safe. He's already lost enough. That's the plan. Outside, Matt was sitting on the curb, kicking at loose gravel. He looked up when Ben emerged. What did he say? He said your mom's case should never have been closed, and he's going to help us. How? Ben handed Matt his helmet. By doing his job, even if it costs him. They rode back to the diner. The parking lot was full now. Engines lined up in neat rows. 36 bikes. More than Ben had expected. Word had spread. Owen met them at the entrance. Everyone's asking what we're doing. I told them we're taking a ride. Didn't mention the rest. Good. Ben looked at the assembled crew. Familiar faces. Some he trusted with his life. Others he barely knew. But they were here. Alyssa walked over, arms crossed. You're really doing this? Yeah. And if we find nothing? Then we keep looking. She studied his face. Whatever she saw there made her nod. All right, but we do this clean. No breaking down doors. No vigilante garbage. We find something we call Mills. Agreed. Wilson approached, holding a road map covered in highlighter marks. I cross-referenced the kid's drawing with county maps. If the blue house is where I think it is, it's about 40 minutes north. Old Farm Road. Not much out there. Matt stepped forward. There's a bridge. A small one. We crossed it every time. Wilson checked the map. Yeah, there's a bridge. Creek runs under Route 9 near the county line. Ben looked at the assembled bikers. Anyone who wants out, leave now. No judgment. Nobody moved. All right then. Ben swung his leg over his bike. Matt climbed on behind him, wrapping his arms around Ben's waist. We ride quiet. We look. We don't touch anything unless Mills is there. The engines roared to life. One by one, they pulled out of the parking lot. A long line of chrome and leather rolling through the morning fog. Matt pressed his face against Ben's back. His voice was barely audible over the engine. Thank you. Ben didn't answer. He just opened the throttle and rode. The convoy moved through back roads like a steel river. Fog clung to the fields on either side, thick enough that Matt could barely see past the first few bikes. Ben didn't slow down. He knew these roads the way some people knew prayers. Matt tapped Ben's shoulder and pointed left. They passed a fence with 3 missing boards, exactly like his drawing. Then came the bridge, narrow and wooden, groaning under the weight of each motorcycle that crossed. The creek below looked black in the early light. Ben raised his fist. The signal rippled back through the line. Engines cut to idle. The blue house sat at the end of a dirt driveway choked with weeds. The paint had faded to the color of old bruises. Windows boarded up. Porch sagging on one side. But it was real. Matt's hands tightened on Ben's jacket. That's it, Matt whispered. Ben killed his engine. The silence felt heavy. He could hear birds now, and wind moving through pine trees. Nothing else. Alyssa pulled up beside them. You want us to wait here? Fan out. Check the perimeter. Don't touch anything. Ben looked back at the others. Wilson, Stick, you're with me. Owen, keep Matt with you. I want to come, Matt said. I know. But if something's wrong in there, I need you out here where it's safe. Matt's face twisted with frustration, but he nodded. Owen put a hand on his shoulder. Ben approached the house slowly. The front door hung crooked on its hinges. He pushed it open with his boot. The smell hit him immediately. Mildew and something sour like spoiled food. Inside, the house was bare. No furniture except a stained mattress on the floor. Empty bottles and a bunched blanket littered the corners. Recent enough that dust hadn't settled. Wilson walked through to the back room. Ben, you need to see this. The kitchen had a card table and 2 folding chairs. On the table sat a paper plate with half-eaten food. Stale bread, a plastic fork, water still in a cup. Someone was here, Stick said. Recently. Ben knelt by the mattress. There were dark stains on the fabric. Maybe blood. He stood and walked to the window. Through the gap in the boards, he could see Matt standing next to Owen's bike, arms wrapped around himself. Outside, Owen was walking the tree line when something caught his eye. The soil near the back of the house looked disturbed. Plants torn up, dirt piled unevenly like someone had been digging and tried to cover it back up. He called Ben over. What do you think? Ben crouched. The earth was soft here, loose. He started brushing dirt aside with his hands. 6 inches down, his fingers hit plastic. Alyssa, get over here. Together they uncovered a black trash bag tied at the top. Ben pulled it free and set it on the ground. The knot was tight. He worked it loose. Inside was a woman's jacket. Denim with a tear in the sleeve. Pair of sneakers worn at the heels. And underneath, wrapped in a smaller plastic bag, a cell phone. Ben held up the jacket. Owen's face went pale. We need to keep Matt away from this, Owen said. Matt was already approaching, drawn by their silence. He saw the jacket in Ben's hands and stopped like he'd hit a wall. That's hers. His voice broke. That's my mom's jacket. Ben stood quickly, blocking his view of the rest. Matt, listen to me. This doesn't mean what you think. Where is she? If her jacket's here, where is she? We don't know yet, but we're going to find out. Ben handed the bag to Alyssa. Call Mills. Tell him we found evidence. Tell him to get here now and bring whoever he trusts. Alyssa pulled out her phone and walked away, speaking in low tones. Matt was shaking. Stick put an arm around him, trying to lead him back toward the bikes, but the kid pulled away. I knew something was wrong. I told them. I told everyone. Ben knelt in front of him. You were right. You were right the whole time. And we're going to prove it. What if we're too late? Ben wanted to promise him they weren't. Wanted to say his mother was alive and they'd find her safe. But he'd been lied to enough times as a kid to know how much those empty promises hurt. Then we make sure whoever did this answers for it, Ben said. But we're not giving up yet. Mills arrived with 2 deputies, examined the bag, photographed everything, bagged the phone, then walked through documenting each room. When he came back out, his expression was grim. Phone's dead, but we can get data off it. Clothing matches the description from the missing person report. Mills looked at Matt. You did good, son. This changes everything. Can you find her now? Matt asked. We're going to try. I'm reopening the case officially. My captain can complain all he wants. What about the phone? Ben asked. How long before you know who she was talking to? I've got a contact who owes me a favor. Should have call logs by tonight. Tomorrow morning at the latest. Mills glanced at the other deputies. I need statements from everyone who was here. This is a crime scene now. The sun was higher when they finally finished. Mills had cordoned off the property with police tape. Matt sat on the back of Ben's bike, exhausted and silent. Owen pulled Ben aside. What now? We wait. Let Mills do his job. And if his captain shuts him down again? Ben watched Matt, who was staring at the blue house like it might give him answers if he looked hard enough. Then we stopped waiting. By evening, Mills called. Ben answered on the second ring. I've got the phone records, Mills said. His voice was tight. Last number she called the night she disappeared was Luke Wagner. Who's that? Contractor. Real estate developer. Son of Mayor Wagner. Mills paused. And someone I can't touch without a warrant I'll never get. Ben felt something cold settle in his chest. Then it's a good thing I'm not a cop. Back in the Iron Circle clubhouse, maps covered the table under coffee mugs and scattered wrenches. Owen had pulled property records from the county database, spreading them across every available surface. Wagner's got his fingers in everything, Owen said, tracing lines across a zoning map. Commercial developments, residential contracts, 3 properties registered under his construction company alone. Ben leaned over the table. Which ones are remote? 2 are active job sites. Crews there every day. But this one. Owen tapped a spot on the map. Maintenance facility near the county line. No permits pulled in 2 years. Hasn't been inspected since it was built. Alyssa zoomed in on her laptop. Tax records show it as equipment storage. But there's no security company listed. No utilities except a basic power line. Perfect place to keep someone if you don't want visitors, Wilson said. Matt sat in the corner, quiet. He'd barely spoken since they found his mother's jacket. Ben walked over and crouched beside him. You doing all right? Matt looked up. His eyes were red. What if she's not alive anymore? Then we make sure justice happens. But I've seen people survive worse odds than this. Ben put a hand on his shoulder. Your mom fought to keep you safe that night. She's still fighting. How do you know? Because you're still fighting. That doesn't come from nowhere. Matt wiped his eyes with his sleeve. Can I come with you? When you go. Stay outside, but ride with us. The next morning, they gathered before dawn. 36 bikes in formation. Ben had called in every favor, every connection. Mills had agreed to follow at a distance, unofficial but ready to move if they found something concrete. The maintenance facility sat behind a locked gate on a dirt road that barely qualified as one. The main building, cinder block, sheet metal, blackened windows, sat ahead of a padlocked storage shed. Ben signaled the others to hold position on the road. He walked to the gate with Alyssa and Owen. The chain was new, the lock expensive. Someone's keeping this place secure, Alyssa said. Owen pulled out his phone and took photos of the lock, the gate, the building. Documented. We're not breaking in without cause. They walked the fence line. A gap in the chain link, cut and pulled back. Fresh marks on the metal. Looks like someone else had the same idea we did, Wilson said. Ben squeezed through. The others followed. They moved quietly through tall grass toward the storage shed. As they got closer, Ben heard something that made him freeze. A voice, weak and muffled, but unmistakably human. He raised his fist. Everyone stopped. The sound came again. Someone calling for help from inside the shed. Ben pulled out his phone and called Mills. We're at the Wagner property. Someone's inside the storage building. Alive. Get here now. Don't do anything until I arrive, Mills said. How long? 15 minutes. Ben looked at the padlocked door. 15 minutes could be too long. He could hear the desperation in that voice. Make it 10. He ended the call and turned to Owen. Break it. Owen grabbed a tire iron from his saddlebag and wedged it under the lock. The metal groaned. He threw his weight against it. The hasp ripped free from the wood. Ben pulled the door open. Inside, on a cot against the back wall, was a woman. Thin, pale, blinking in the sudden light. Her wrists had marks from restraints. An empty water jug lay on its side near her feet. Vanessa, Ben asked. She tried to speak, but her throat was too dry. She nodded instead. Alyssa pushed past Ben with a water bottle. Easy. Small sips. Vanessa drank, coughed, drank again. Her eyes darted to the door like she expected someone to drag her back into darkness. Where's Matt? Her voice cracked. Where's my son? He's safe. He's the one who led us here. Tears spilled down her face. He drew the map. I knew he would remember. Ben heard engines approaching. Mills and his deputies arrived just as Vanessa stumbled out into daylight, supported by Alyssa. Matt saw her from the road and started running. The reunion happened in the middle of the dirt driveway. Matt crashed into his mother and they both went down to their knees, holding each other like the world might try to tear them apart again. Mills approached Ben. She needs medical attention. She needs her son more. Mills nodded and turned to his deputies. Radio for an ambulance. And get a warrant for Luke Wagner. Now. Vanessa finally pulled back enough to look at Matt's face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. You're alive, Matt said. That's all that matters. But when Mills asked her what happened, her expression darkened. Luke Wagner. We were seeing each other. He promised to leave his wife, then used me to move money through fake contracts, hiding assets from his business partners. When I found the paperwork and told him I'd go to the authorities, he panicked. Her voice steadied. He took me to the Blue House, kept me there for days, then moved me here when he thought someone might look. He said once the case went cold, he'd make it look like I'd left town voluntarily. Did he hurt you? Mills asked. He kept me locked up, barely fed me, checked on me every few days. She looked at Ben. He didn't count on my son, or people who'd actually listened to him. By the time the ambulance arrived, Luke Wagner was in custody. His lawyer was already making calls, threatening lawsuits, claiming misunderstandings. But the evidence was overwhelming. The phone records, the property, Vanessa's testimony. The mayor's shocked statement came too late. Wagner's empire started crumbling within days. At the hospital, Matt refused to leave his mother's side. Ben stood in the hallway with Mills. Your captain going to bury this? Ben asked. Mills smiled. It was tired but genuine. A reporter already picked up the story. By tomorrow it'll be regional news. Can't bury what everyone's watching. Ben looked through the window at Matt and Vanessa, hands clasped together. The kid saved her. The kid asked for help, Mills corrected. You actually gave it. Matt's crayon map now hangs in the Iron Circle clubhouse. As a reminder, one act of listening, the choice to believe a child when the world wouldn't, saved a life and brought down a powerful man who thought he was untouchable. What would you have done if Matt walked into your life? Drop your thoughts below. And if this story moved you, share it. Because kindness, like truth, has a way of spreading. See you in our next video.